people of this country and we're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough.
This is the Patriots Prayer Podcast. It's a tremendous show, one of the greatest shows in the history of the world.
This is Bryson Gray, and you are watching the Patriots Prayer.
PTN, you're doing the right thing.
On the Patriots Prayer Network. Thank you all.
I'm Tom McDonald. This is the Patriot Prayers Network. Check it out. Lots of good TV, lots of cool people. Tune in. Keep it locked.
Make America great again. You a punk, you a clown, better know where I stand. I'm the white boy with the middle fingers in the air, dog. We don't give a what. 100 white boys gonna hold me down anywhere, dog. We think that you suck. My Patriots the craziest. They ain't afraid of breaking fists on faces. If you really wanna taste of this, no safety tip. The same mistake and spray the clip. I pray you miss, cause if you don't, they gon' go wacko. Automatic gun smoke like tobacco. Never hit a lady, but it's pretty hard to tell if you're a girl or a they, them. There's these, that, those. I ain't never gonna take a knee for the anthem. Smack them. I don't give a damn, can't stand them. Gang full of randoms, fan with a handgun. Run up in your mansion, leave it all abandoned. I was raised to be brave to the grave. United States, we love the country that they've been corrupting. Go woke and go broker if you ain't a waste. My people of this country and we're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough, come stand with us, take USA back. And every time we pull up, all you're gonna see is American flags. American flags. American flags. And every time we pull up, all you...
Leadership eager to bury the incident and military brass ordered to stand down as the Liberty was under fire. Then there's the counterpoint. Fog of war, breakdown in communications, a high-tension battlefield. Some argue that the Liberty was mistaken for an Egyptian vessel, a tragic accident in the chaos of a fast-moving war. So what is the truth? That is what we are going to find out today, because we're speaking to someone who lived it, who felt the heat of the napalm, who heard the shriek of the incoming torpedoes, and who has carried this story with him ever since. Phil Tournie, the president of the USS Liberty Veterans Association, is going to join us today on the Patriots Prayer Podcast. Thank you guys for joining us on this episode of the Patriots Prayer. So, Phil, I am so glad to have you with us today. And let's throw this up. We got quite a bit to dig into, like I just stated there. And for those who didn't see the monologue, you didn't see it because it was on the other platform. We are we're very honored to have Phil with us today, though, and the story that he has to tell, it's heartbreaking to know that this is possible. And there are multi versions of this story, and there are ones that make the American government, Israeli government, and that seem a little more innocent than maybe what they are. And there have been conspiracy theories about the USS Liberty that have been swirling for years. And even I heard them, but I heard an interview on Redacted, and it reignited this question about what really happened on the USS Liberty. So I reached out to Phil, who is the president of the USS Liberty Veterans Association, and Phil got right back to me. And I'm glad he did, because I want to know what really happened that day. What was the USS Liberty doing there to begin with?
We were there because we were a spy ship, the most sophisticated spy ship in the world at that time. We could bounce signals off the moon back to NSA within 3 seconds. I mean, it was first class all the way. Now, I wasn't a spook, I was in engineering. But we were on our normal cruise to Africa, and we stopped in Abidjan, and all of a sudden we got urgent orders to get underway immediately. And we got everybody back aboard ship, and we took off for parts unknown. We ended up in Rota, Spain, and picked up 3 linguists, 2 Marines, and 1 civilian. Alan Blue was a civilian. He was NSA, CIA type of person. And the 3 sergeants, they were 2 of them were killed, and so was Alan Blue. One of them survived, but he got the brunt of the torpedo blast right in his face. Anyway, we left port, and we were going into the Med, and we found out then we were going into a war zone. So we requested a destroyer air escort, not once but twice, because all the ships were going that way, and we were going the other way. We were the only one going into it, and we wanted the destroyer escort. We were denied that twice. You got a flag, you got a big flag on your ship. You got GTR 5 on the bow, both sides, and USS Liberty written on the stern with your flag. I mean, they know who you are, and we felt that way. Okay, we felt safe because we had our banner, the banner over that we put our arm up to and swore to God that we were going to protect our country, and that was our banner, that was our shield. But we, I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I didn't realize I muted myself. That was one of the things that they contended. It was, they didn't know that you had a G or a C on the markings of the vessel, and they also said you weren't flying the U.S. colors. And you're stating that unequivocally you were absolutely doing both. You had the vessel clearly marked, and there was a U.S. flag above the ship.
Yes, sir, absolutely. You got that right. It was a brand new flag, a 5x8, brand new. And we put that up. I didn't personally, but the other guys did, the signalman, because the old man wanted everybody to know that we knew we were going into a war zone alone, 12.5 miles off the coast, but we wanted everybody, hey, we're Americans, so I wasn't too worried about it. None of us were. And I got to tell you, we had Stars of David all over the inside the ship because we supported Israel. Those were our friends, our ally. And we were pulling for them to win and win quick. And we got there on the 7th of June. At that point, the Israeli aircraft, recon aircraft, they were propeller jobs, flying boxcar, DC-3, some smaller aircraft, circled the ship, and they would fly very close to the ship, to the deck. And the deck, it did rattle. I mean, they were that close. We waved at the pilots, and they waved back at us. And the Star Davis was on those airplanes, the marked ones.
The idea that they were too far away to be able to tell for sure that it was a U.S. ship, that also you would claim to be a falsehood. Let me ask you then, there are other things swirling around, like I said in the monologue in the intro. Were there interceptions that took place prior to the attack that let you guys know for sure that they knew prior to the attack that this was a U.S. vessel?
We had picked up interceptions, and I didn't know this till later, that when the attack started on the 8th, and by the way, on the 8th, they did the same thing, aircraft taking pictures. But yeah, I mean, they know exactly who we were because on their war table, they had us on the war table as American and friendly. They said they changed the watch, forgot we were there. We were no longer there to them, they said, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I watched some of that and I've heard people say it. But were those records ever made public? Were those radio transmissions ever made public, or were they just classified and buried?
No, they're made public. They're in a few films. Loss of Liberty is one of them. If you watch that film on YouTube, you'll see a lot of stuff come out there. But no, it's just we got on station. If you would like me to start there and tell you what happened, I'll go ahead.
Absolutely, please do.
Okay. All right. Yes, sir. I really will. I'll get this done the best way I know how. We went to a general quarters drill, and I was in a chemical suit. It was a chemical drill. It was very hot that day. And I was pretending like I was washing down the ship. And I almost passed out in that suit because it was so hot. And finally, general quarters was over, and I stowed my gear. And at that time, I was assistant on-scene leader in the forward repair party. The sound part phones weren't working on the starboard gun mount. So I went to the IC room and got one of my friends, David Skolak. He was an IC man, to go up there and see if he could fix the sound-powered phones. The gun was manned. The front gun was manned by one gunner's mate. Because the captain, knew we was in a war zone, so he just wanted something up there. But I said, I'll get it done, Tournie. I'll take care of it. And I went down to my workstation, about 30 seconds to my workstation. I went in the hatch, and all hell broke loose. They hit the motor whaleboat, which they said they were going to test that first. And that's right by my workstation. I was going to go out there. The chief pulled me back and said, "Don't go out there, man. We're under attack." So I got to my GQ station, and it was on. I mean, rockets, cannons, machine guns, napalm, everything they could do for 25 minutes. Now, we got a message out. We got a message out during the attack because there's one antenna they didn't hit that Terry Halbardier hooked a long wire to because he had took it offline before the attack because it wasn't tuning correctly. And that's the only reason that thing wasn't hit, because all the tuning antennas on that ship were hit. Every watertight door on that ship was hit above the waterline within 3 seconds. And we had got a distress code out to the 6th Fleet. Under attack, Rockstar, come help us. Captain Tully off the USS USS Saratoga sent aircraft immediately to come to our aid. They were recalled by McNamara even before they hit the horizon. Do not help Liberty return to base.
Robert McNamara, for those of you who don't know, very infamous guy. Look up Project Northwoods if you don't know. But I'm sorry, continue.
Yeah, they recalled him, and then the America and Saratoga, both captains, went to a higher authority because they launched again, and they weren't going to come back. And the president got online and said, "Bring those GD planes back right now. I don't care if about a few dead sailors. I will not embarrass my ally." Now the planes were attacking us were yes. I will not embarrass my ally. The planes they attacked us with were unmarked. We had no idea who was attacking us. We thought it was the Arabs. But no. And Johnson says, "I will not embarrass my ally." How did he know who was attacking us if we didn't?
Hold up.
He recalled those aircraft.
So not only did he recall the aircraft, but he also knew what was happening and admitted so in the recall order because he said it was an ally.
Right. He knew who was attacking us. We were set up by our own government to be sunk and blame it on a foreign government, the Egypt and the Arab states. That was the whole plan. Sink us fast.
Now, to my understanding, LBJ, there's said to be a recording from LBJ where he said, and I quote, "I want that damn ship on the bottom of the ocean." Have you heard this? Or is this just more conspiracy?
I have heard it. I can't confirm it, but I have heard it.
So that's the president of the United States. And he was in communication, so the story goes, with McNamara and your, high-ranking officials at that time. And this was all said to be a plan for the United States to enter into this war. And they needed an excuse to do it. And their excuse was going to be American soldiers they took out themselves. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yep, they were going to sacrifice 294 American sailors and Marines, CIA, NSA people that took an oath to protect and defend this country from all enemies, foreign and domestic. And look what they did to us. They wanted us all dead.
How many people
torpedo boats came alongside then.
Go ahead. I apologize.
Go ahead.
There were 34.
There was 34 killed and 174 wounded.
Okay, and then to this day, currently, has there ever been a real investigation done on this?
The only investigation we got was from the Board of Inquiry, which came aboard our boat a couple days after the attack. But I got to tell you about the torpedo boats.
Yeah, please do.
There were 3 motor torpedo boats with the Star of David on them. And we think, oh, God, thank God they're here. They're coming here to help us. No, they weren't. They were coming there to sink us. They circled the ship, firing cannons, machine guns at anything that moved. My shipmates blown to bits on the deck, pieces of body all over, blood everywhere. And they fire 5 torpedoes at us. Can you imagine that? Five torpedoes. And one struck the starboard side, killing 25 American heroes, blew them to bits in the blink of an eye. The ship started to roll over. I thought we was going to sink and just stop. By the grace of God, He saved that ship for this day, for everybody to understand the real truth. And the torpedo boats would circle our ship. We put over 3 life rafts to put our most seriously wounded in, so they'd have a chance at life. They wouldn't even allow that. They shot them out of the water.
Now, my mind is blown. Because I knew some of this, but I didn't know it was, to that level of detail. Now, you say you were flying the Stars and Stripes, clear as day. And am I to understand they actually shot the flag down?
Yes, sir, they did. They shot 2 of them down, two 5x8s, and then they put up holiday colors. It's a 7x13 flag. 7x13. Now that 7x13 flag was on there when the torpedo boats were there, and they said they couldn't. They had tried to identify this as the El Quasir, a horse transport that was half sunk somewhere in Alexandria, is what I heard. But that's the comparison they made, and we thought the attack was over, but no, it wasn't. Here come armed helicopters with Marines on them, machine guns at the ready to come down a ladder or a rope down on the deck and scuttle the ship and kill us all. And they just stopped. I looked around and I saw the guy, and I gave him the finger, and he gave me the finger right back and smiled. And then they just left.
So there's no chance, not a snowball's chance in hell that this was a mistake of any kind. This was a planned attack, and both the United States military and the Israeli military were in on it. And am I to understand there were some Israeli fighter pilots who refused to go along with the plan, and they were court-martialed?
I have heard the same story. And yes, that's what I've heard. I don't know if it's for sure or not, but I do know that we've got intercept messages from the pilots. But sir, it's an American ship. It's an American ship. You've got your orders. Hit her, and hit her they did, and the consequences are well known.
So during this 2-hour time period, you guys are getting bombarded with torpedoes, cannon fire, planes overhead shooting at you, shooting down your flags, and you're continually pulling out new flags to let them know who you are. And you went from a smaller flag to a larger, to even a larger flag, which to understand. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it's 7 feet by 13 feet long. You couldn't miss it. A blind person could see it. I mean, to say we weren't flying a flag. Well, not only that, they knew exactly who they were. They came over on ships, they identified us as American and friendly way before the attack. They knew what they were doing. We were probably set up a year in advance because they just didn't do this right away. They had a plan for it, and we were in that plan.
So for those of you out there who do not believe that false flag incidents happen, Phil is living proof that they do. And so take us through the rest of this attack exactly to the best of your recollection.
Well, to the best of my recollection, it was during the attack and after the attack. We didn't receive any help from the Sixth Fleet for 17 hours. They left us out there alone. They didn't even send a Piper Cub over to see if we were okay. We were out there alone, period. And we had to fend for ourselves, and body parts all over the place, scooping up, trying to piece people together. I helped in one operation where the Gary Blanchard, he was blown up bad, and Doc cut him open, and then he died. He was dead, and so we just put a few stitches in him, or Doc did, and we moved him over and started on another one. But that went on all night. There was broken and bloodied men all over in the mess decks, and finally the next day the America showed up with the Davis, and Davis sent some crew members over to help us shore up where the torpedo was hit. On both sides of it is a bit like big balloons. The bulkheads were just blown out like balloons. If they'd have busted one of them, we couldn't have taken that water, and that's why I give all power to Jesus Christ, because nobody else could do it. I mean, man couldn't do it, but he did it. And they took them all off. All the wounded. I was wounded, but I was walking wounded. I stayed with the ship, and we were out at sea for 2 days. And here comes a flag admiral, Admiral Isaac Kidd, and his underling, JAG officer Ward Boston, and they were interrogating the crew. And I was in sick bay at the time with 4 other guys, 4 or 5. And he took off his stars, and he threw them on the table. They ran out like a small bell. And he says, I'm like your dad. Tell me everything that happened, everything you saw, everything. Don't hold anything back. And we didn't. And I told him, I says, how come you didn't send help to us? How come you left us out here alone for all those hours? How come this and that and the other? And he put stars back on. He got right in my face. He got beat red, and he says, if you ever repeat a word of what you just told me to anybody, your parents, especially the press, I'll make sure you end up in prison or worse. And he says, you know what worse means? I said, yes, sir, I do. And he took off. He left. So that's what they did to us. And it's still going on today. It's been a cover-up from LBJ to our current president, in which I voted for 3 times. I love the guy. I mean, look what he's done for our country so far. I mean, he's getting illegals out of here and stuff like that. And I don't agree with everything. Nobody agrees with everything I say either. But he is the president, and I'm going to support him. And that's just the way it is. But I sure wish he would take a look at the USS Liberty, man. We've been waiting for 58 years, sir. Please help us out. And the truth matters. Please let the truth matter to you, sir.
It absolutely matters. Now, what stands out the most in your memory from the chaos and the destruction that unfolded over those 2 hours? If you could pick a specific thing.
What stands out the most is the way we were treated, the way that what they did to the crew afterwards. A friend of mine, a good friend, he had so many pieces of shrapnel in him. I thought he was going to die, but he lived, and they sent him to Bremerhaven. They put him in a room with a bunch of other wounded people from Vietnam. They took him out the next day and told him, your name is no longer LeMay, it's Smith. Never talk about the USS Liberty anything to anybody. He got the same BS I did. So that's what they did to the crew. They ruined a lot of people's lives. When your country won't back you up, and then you have an ally trying to kill you, that's a hard one to swallow, man. No American should have to go through that. Ever. If we sink as planned, we were very close to World War III.
So
Very close.
what was the immediate aftermath of this situation?
You mean
As
after
soon as
the attack?
after the smoke cleared, what exactly? What do you remember from at that point? What took place?
Well, we took the boat back to Malta, 1,000 miles away, with a 40 by 40 foot hole in it, and patched it up. And that's where all the men were. And that ship stunk like death. I mean, they're in such hot water in that Mediterranean Ocean and being bounced back and forth, and their body parts all blown up. It was stench. You couldn't even eat in the mess decks. It was that bad, and it stayed that way. Even I brought her home too, and it stayed that way the whole time. And those
And
men, their own shipmates, had to dig their body pieces out and try to identify them. And
I'm so sorry
that's
you
what
had to
they
go
did.
through that. I'm so sorry you had to go through that. And nobody should ever have to go through that. And they damn sure shouldn't be put through it by their own government. And in your view of this entire incident, why do you think the U.S. government played it down for so many years and tried to cover it up? If you had to guess.
Well, it's because of Israel. And it's two crooked governments. You had one to try to set us up, had the hitmen set us up, our government. The hitmen couldn't get the job done. Then the cover-up story was always a mistaken identity. And within 7 days, the Board of Inquiry said, oh, yeah, it was a mistaken identity. You know, we're sorry. And they paid $6 million for a $40 million ship, and they didn't even pay it. Our own government did that. They paid survivors some money, the ones that were really blown up or hurt bad, and they deserved every nickel of it. You know, and it's just things like that. I mean, this cover-up is it's as deep as JFK and RFK and Martin Luther and Epstein. Is probably deeper than theirs because we're alive and we're American, highly decorated veterans, and our country won't even talk to us. They won't even listen to us. And when we do get a congressman or senator to write to us, they tell us the same thing. It was a mistaken identity. We've already investigated it. They've never investigated it. They're liars.
Well, and let me ask you this. What has it been like fighting for recognition and justice for the Liberty crew all these decades later? Are you finding, that you can get the word out? Who's receptive? And obviously we know who's not. You said you've reached out to congressmen and senators who are not really willing to dig in or hear what you got to say. The mainstream media, have they paid any attention to you at all or heard anything you've had to say?
No. The mainstream media is you might as well be talking to a congressman. But no, even newspapers, they want nothing to do with it. But the best thing that ever happened was the internet, alternative radio and podcast and TV and stuff. And that's where the American people get their information now. They don't get it from ABC or CBS if they're informed. So this is the way people can adjust to the real truth and do a little educating and say, hey, man, this isn't right. And we need to get this fixed one way or the other.
We went to
it's going to happen again.
That's right. And if people don't know, if you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it. Like I said, we were at CPAC this year, and that was one of the things that we said over and over again. We are the media now. We are the media. They have there is no faith in the media to tell the truth. Trump hit it on the head when he started calling them fake news. And those of you who know about the Project Mockingbird, it never ended. And then when you looked at the U.S. aid money and how it was used, and it was being funneled back into mainstream media outlets, Why do you think they're all repeating the same stories in sync over and over again? Like they all got the same email or fax that morning, say, tell this story this way and use these exact words, because they figure if they can say the same lie over and over and over again, that people will believe it. And the unfortunate truth is there is a segment of our population who does. That's why they're still wearing masks. This is why a lot of the things, that's why we have such division in this country, because we have a free press who's not a free press. They don't tell the truth. And as a result, the division causes the chaos that we see in the streets every day. Now, have you ever been contacted by a U.S. or Israel official about what happened outside of what we just talked about?
Yeah, the several of them actually. Admiral
Anyone?
Thomas H. Moore, former chief,
Okay.
but and other admirals, Arleigh Burke, and all of them come out and said this is not a mistake. It was, it was a pre-planned attack, but nobody listens to them. Nobody listens to us except people like you that want to get the word out right, and that's what we're asking for. We don't hate anybody. I mean, they call me a Nazi and a Jew hater and an anti-Semite for trying to tell the truth.
Listen, my
So
Lord and
that's what
Savior,
they-
Jesus Christ, is Jewish, and I give my life for him as he gave his life for me. And an anti-Semite is far from anything that I believe you are or I am. This is just the truth. And I wouldn't want anyone to liken me to my government, especially when Biden was in office. I wouldn't want me to be painted with that broad brush and to say every American is this way because that's how Biden is, if that makes sense. So I don't see the whole thing about the anti-Semitic thing being anything other than a diversion. We're going to take a quick break and go to our sponsor, and we're going to come right back.
Welcome to Shop with America, where the emphasis is on America. Our movement is to switch away from your shopping with the big box stores and the mega corporations back to supporting family-owned, made in America. We've been giving these big box stores our money every day for years. But what's happened is they've forced many small businesses to shut down. We call this the illusion of choice. We see all these products in these stores, but in reality, it's only a few companies that control it all. There are thousands of lawsuits for health damage because they put profit over our people. But there is another choice. We found a better way. There's a family-owned American factory with product integrity and have always done things the right way for the right reasons. And this company outperforms the big box stores. That's due to their month-to-month shopping club. They make everyday consumer products that we all use and buy again and again, like toothpaste, shampoo, coffee, and organic beef. Go to shopwithamerica.us today.
So I lost you. I don't know what happened here. Give me just a second to grab you back. There you are. Sorry about that.
No problem.
So we are we're entering into a day and a time where I think people are waking up. People are beginning to question official narratives, classified documents about issues that we never thought we'd get. We're finally starting to see. I believe there is a move toward the middle instead of a far right or a far left. And in this, I have to believe there's hope that the story that you're telling us right now will be received and heard by people who actually care and will look into this much deeper. And I don't hear any Israeli or anti-Semitic sentiment in what you're saying. This is just true. And the real question then becomes why? And who's really at fault? And is there anyone left from that time to this day right now that could be brought up before a military hearing of some kind? Are there people still in power that were around back then in the government? Have any of them gone on to become elected officials or anything like that?
No, not that I know of, and most of them are probably dead and gone. But there's no statute of limitations on cold-blooded, premeditated murder either.
True enough.
So I don't think you can forgive that. You just can't. I mean, hey, those men died serving their country, my shipmates, my friends, and I'm their voice. They haven't had a voice in 58 years.
Well, sir, you're doing.
But I'm their
great job.
voice, and I want to make sure that they don't die in vain.
That's completely understood. And what does the general public, in your opinion, still misunderstand the most about what happened that day on the USS Liberty? I'm sure people give you their rendition of what took place all the time. And when you hear it, what do they get wrong the most? What is the pervasive thing that's out there that people, they're just misconceptions about? What do you think they are the most?
Well, I'll tell you, two of the biggest of them was Ben Shapiro and Charlie Kirk. They said over and over again, it's a conspiracy theorist. We don't talk about that. We don't do that. It's a conspiracy theorist. Well, they call me a conspiracy theorist. Well, I'm not. I'm telling you the truth. And I've tried to. I've asked them. I've tried to get a hold of them and say, hey, just debate me and see who comes out on the right side. I know they're both smart men, but I think I can handle them and do it professionally and honestly, and they'll just have to either take it or not. But I can tell the truth, and they're going on stuff that they don't have any idea about. Nothing.
Yeah, I think, well, Shapiro probably more just because once he hears any anti-Israeli sentiment, his blinders go up. And Charlie Kirk probably generally just wants to believe the good story. However, I think that with Charlie Kirk, if he truly sat down, looked at the evidence and understood and heard everything you said, I don't think he could argue with it. Now, if you could address President Trump or the Israel leadership directly today about this, what would you say to them?
Well, I would say, listen, it's President Trump and President or Netanyahu. Let's just do the art of the deal. Do the art of the deal, Mr. President, and get the word out, the truth on both sides. Man up and admit what happened. That was before your time. Just admit it happened, and let's get it over with. Because the USS Liberty veterans will not stop until they're dead. So please, both of you, please just, I hope they watch this show. I don't know if they do or not. Who knows? I hope so. I'm sure they would.
We have a pretty big reach. You never know who might do this
let
show.
the truth tell the story.
We have a pretty large reach. And,
Oh yeah, I know you do.
Yeah, we have
But
a lot of notable people.
Yeah.
So if President Trump is watching and he sees that, you know what, I do have faith in the guy. I've never had faith in a politician in my whole life. I just have been very nihilistic when it comes to politicians, and I think they do just, they try to do whatever's popular because that's what politicians do. They try to win people over, and I think for the first time in history, in my life, actually, I can only speak about what I've seen, that we do have a president that I think if anyone is likely to look at a situation and go against the grain and do the unpopular thing and tell the truth, it's this one. And I mean, I really believe that with all my heart. And what is the message that you have for listeners out there right now? I'm having Kaiser, who's one of the listeners here. He says, this is the first time that I heard about the USS Liberty, and the first time I realized our ally is out for itself. There's some people today that are literally just hearing about the USS Liberty for the first time. And what would your message be for them?
First of all, pray for us that our mission is completed and the truth is told to not only to America, but the world. And that's all we want. It's just the truth. We don't want money. We don't want fame. We don't want anything. But we want our shipmates to be recognized for the heroes they are. Mm-hmm. And we've had your backs turned on us for 58 years. It's time you recognize the gallant crew of the USS Liberty. And if anybody out there cares to donate just $1 to our cause, please go to usslibertyveterans.org.
So that's USS libertyveterans.org, guys.
Veterans.org, yes.
Did I transpose it? It's USS Liberty Veterans, right?
Yes, .org.
Okay. .org. So, guys, that's it. If you have the ability and the means, it's a very noble cause. If you can give a few bucks, and these guys are going to continue to fight to get their story out, to be heard, to fight for those who no longer have a voice. And we say it on this podcast all the time. Truth matters. And it does. And sometimes the truth is uncomfortable. And it's not easy. But there's one thing about the truth that never changes. It's true. So we can give you the truth, but it's up to you to figure out what to do with it. And Phil has lived with this for many years. And I'm sure the frustration of knowing these things, it must come with a certain amount of just being jaded and knowing that the people that were there to protect you and look out for your best interest and have your back in that moment didn't. In the way that must skew how you see the world and how you look at your own country. I can't even imagine. Do you have more faith in your country today than you did at that time, though? How has that transition gone throughout the years?
Do I have more faith in my country? I have faith in my countrymen and women.
Okay.
But our leaders, I have no faith in them.
Okay.
Because they're in it for themselves, usually all the time.
Understandable. So, after what you've been through, it's completely understandable.
But we love our country. I'd fight for my country right now if I had to. I would.
I think we're all in this boat.
I'm the luckiest man alive to be born in America. Luckiest man alive to be born in America. I guarantee you that.
And Phil, I'm going to give you the last word here. Any message at all you want to be heard? Here's your opportunity, sir.
Thank you. I just want everybody to understand the USS Liberty and what I'm doing to get the truth out. And I don't hate anybody, but I hate people that don't tell the truth. I mean, I just despise it. And it's our turn. After 58 years, everybody out there, please help us. Give us our turn to help America, because this is about America. When they attacked our ship, they attacked all of us. Every one of us. When you attack a flagged American ship, you attack all of us. You attack one, you attack all. And they got by with it with the help of our government. So both of them better fess up and help us do it. Write letters, call them, do whatever you got to do. Say, hey, I know all those things you told me before is a lie, but be prepared. When you write a letter to Congress, be prepared to be lied to. Because I have been hundreds and hundreds of times. But thank you, sir, for having me on the show. It's very nice of you. I appreciate it. And God bless you. God bless you.
And you're welcome back anytime as well. And we're not only going to share this, but I will put a link to your website out there for anyone who wants to help and has the ability to give and help get this story out. And I'd like to invite you onto the Patriot Prayer Network family of podcasts. And I'll be having the rest of the hosts of their respective podcasts reach out to you so you can get the story out on their podcasts as well. The more people hear this, the more likely it is that action will be taken on it. So we'll do whatever we can to help in that regard. And as usual, Patriots, thank you for tuning in. And I'm going to say what I usually say, and that is just this. The silent majority, you need to stop being silent and stand your ground. Evil will never retreat willingly. In every case, it must be beaten back. You guys have a great day, and we'll see you again next time on the Patriots Prayer.
My people of this country, and we're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough.
This is the Patriots Prayer Podcast. It's a tremendous show, one of the greatest shows in the history of the world.
This is Bryson Gray, and you are watching the Patriots Prayer.
PTN, you're doing the right thing.
On the Patriots Prayer Network. Thank you all.
I'm Tom McDonald. This is the Patriot Prayers Network. Check it out. Lots of good TV, lots of cool people. Tune in, keep it locked.
Make America great again. You a punk, you a clown, better know where I stand. I'm the white boy with the middle fingers in the air, dog. We don't give a what. 100 white boys gonna hold me down anywhere, dog. We think that you suck. My Patriots the craziest. They ain't afraid of breaking fists on faces. If you really wanna taste of this, no safety tip. The same mistake and spray the clip. I pray you miss, cause if you don't, they gon' go wacko. Automatic gun smoke like tobacco. Never hit a lady, but it's pretty hard to tell if you're a girl or a they, them. There's these, that, those. I ain't never gonna take a knee for the anthem. Smack them. I don't give a damn, can't stand them. Gang full of randoms, fan with a handgun. Run up in your mansion, leave it all abandoned. I was raised to be brave to the grave. United States, we love the country that they've been corrupting. Go woke and go broker if you ain't awake. My people of this country, and we're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough, come stand with us, take USA back. And every time we pull up, all you're gonna see is American flag.